Copyright announcement. All rights reserved. No part of this publication may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, electronic, mechanical, photocopying, recording, or otherwise, without the prior written permission of Praizion Media. And now let's welcome Phil, the PMP Doctor.
Hello, welcome to the Introduction to Project Management, the first module in a series of modules that make up the PMBOK Guide audio digest. The best way to use this CD set is listen to a module. After you've listened to a module on CD, read that chapter in the PMBOK Guide. For example, Module 1 in this CD series is Introduction to Project Management. After you've listened to Module 1, read Chapter 1 in the PMBOK Guide 4th edition. In that way, you will be able to solidify all that you study and hear, and you'll be able to understand it better. Each module maps to a chapter in the PMBOK Guide. Module 1 is an introduction to project management. Module 2 is project lifecycle and organization. Module 3 is project management processes for a project. Module 4 is on project integration management. Module 5, project scope management. Module 6, project time management. Module 7, project cost management. Module 8, project quality management. Module 9, project human resource management. Module 10, project communications management. Module 11, project risk management. And Module 12, project procurement management. So this is an end-to-end study of the PMBOK Guide, all on audio. If you don't have a copy of the PMBOK Guide, you can get one at www.pmi.org. If you are studying for the PMP exam, you absolutely need a copy of the PMBOK Guide to be able to understand what project management is the PMI way. So, since you're listening to the CD, I assume you're either getting ready to take the exam, or perhaps you're a project manager trying to catch up with how the PMBOK has evolved since the last edition or any edition that you might have studied. Lots has changed in the PMBOK Guide since 1996. Or perhaps you just need to know what's in the PMBOK in order to work on a government contract. Perhaps you're using a PMBOK methodology. This CD series is for you. First off, let's have a high-level overview of our objectives in this short session before we jump into Chapter 1. Our main objectives are to talk about study tips and tricks to use when studying for the PMP exam, talk about the PMI approach to project management, talk about some PMI definitions, and also discuss real-world project management in an organization. First of all, who's the PMI? The PMI is the leading global association for the project management profession. Founded in 1969, they are a not-for-profit organization, and they have been key in implementing project management standards and techniques and documenting all that in the PMBOK Guide. Also, the PMI is known for their certifications such as the PMP, the PGMP, and the CAPM. The most popular of all those certificates is the PMP. The PMP certification is the most sought after project management certificate in the world today. One of the main goals of PMI is to advance the practice, science, and profession of project management worldwide. The PMI today has over 500,000 members and several credential holders. The PMI has presence in over 70 countries. The PMI has authored global standards. The most popular of these is the PMBOK Guide. The PMBOK Guide has over 2 million copies in circulation worldwide. Another goal of the PMI is to help business professionals start, build, or advance their careers in project, program, and portfolio management. Let's define a few of those acronyms of certificates that the PMI offers. The first is a PMP, the Project Management Professional. The next is a CAPM, Certified Associate in Project Management. The next is the PGMP, Program Management Professional. All these certifications have enabled business professionals build and advance their careers in project, program, and portfolio management. let's go into details about the PMP. The PMP, the project management professional, is an individual who is seen as being responsible for all aspects of the project for the life of the project. Someone who has led and directed cross-functional teams to deliver projects. Someone who has demonstrated sufficient knowledge and experience to apply a methodology to projects. Consequently, there are certain eligibility requirements expected from each candidate who wants to get PMP certified. The high-level requirements are: you should have either a high school diploma or its global equivalent with 5 years of project management experience, and also 35 hours of project management education. Or on the other hand, you should have a bachelor's degree or its global equivalent and 3 years of project management experience and 35 hours of project management education. This project management experience and education has to be documented. Now, there's several project managers who have the experience, but they may not have gone through the formal education for over 35 hours. If you need that project management education, Praise Ion Media can help you in that we offer project management education worth over 35 contact hours or 35 PDUs if you're already a PMP. So go to our website www.praizion.com and find out more about some of the courses we offer in Microsoft Project and in project management. During the application process, you will be asked for specific information on what you did in the project and how that maps to the PMI's structure of project management. The structure of project management is the 5 process groups, which you'll learn about later: initiating, planning, executing, monitoring and controlling and closing a project, and also the 9 knowledge areas, which I won't go into. But you will have to show how the work you did on the project mapped to the specific process groups. To do that, we have a tool on PraiseIon.com which is called the PMP Application Check Form. That enables you to estimate how many hours of project management experience you have. If you're meant to be practicing project management over 5 years, you should have a specific amount of hours that you've worked on project management, and you need to be able to estimate that. To do that, you can use the PMP Application Check Form on www.praiseion.com. This is a free application for students to be able to assess how many hours they actually spent on projects. You need this information when completing your PMP application form. Once you have completed your PMP application form, whether manually or online, you submit it to the PMI. At the same time, you also pay examination fees. If you are a PMI member currently in 2009, June, you would pay $405. But if you were a non-member, you would pay $555. Being a member has more benefits than just the reduced examination fee. You need to pay the fees just as you're submitting your application to PMI. Talking about the exam is a 4-hour exam with 200 questions. Out of those 200 questions on the PMP exam, it's a known fact that 25 of those questions do not count at the moment. Today, those questions are used for data gathering purposes, but they're not used as part of the test. In essence, your exam is really out of 175 questions, but you don't know which of those 25 questions do not count. You need to answer all 200 to the best of your ability. Again, it's a 4-hour exam. You've got 4 hours to answer those questions. Those questions are not a walk in the park. They're not easy questions. Regardless how much you've studied, those questions are not all easy common sense questions. You need to understand what is in the PMBOK guide. You also need to understand concepts out of the scope of the PMBOK guide, and those concepts, several of them are covered in the PMBOK guide audio digest.
Effective realistic project management training is crucial for all project managers, PMP certified or not. PraiseIon Media offers real-world project management training, PMP Exam training, CAPM training, leadership training, Microsoft Project and Communications training in Arizona, California, New York, Washington DC, Virginia, London, UK, Canada, and indeed the world. Get PMP certified or learn the basics of project management. Praizion Media will train you or your team on site via the internet, CDs, DVDs, MP3s, or through our books and study guides. Our trainers are real-world project managers with experience in various industries, government, engineering, IT, aerospace, healthcare, and more. Visit www.praizion.com or call 480-545-2022 to learn how we can help you build invincible PMP certified project managers. Stop losing money on failed and unnecessary projects and get your project managers trained to be leaders and trailblazers. Visit www.praizion.com, that's PRAIZION.com, or call now 480-545-2022. Praizion Media, real-world project management training solutions. And now, let's listen to Phil, the PMP Doctor.
When you have performed well on the exam, you will be awarded the PMP certification. But it's not easy. Several people fail because they go into the exam hall thinking that it's going to test their knowledge on project management the way they practice it in their organization. If your organization is not using the PMBOK Guide 4th edition to practice project management exactly how it's in the PMBOK Guide, then you might be practicing something else other than what's in the PMBOK Guide, which isn't bad. There are other methodologies for practicing project management. You've got the rapid application development approach, you've got the agile approach, the Scrum approach. You've even got the Prince2 approach, which is project management also. But the PMI approach is really what you're going to be tested on. So you have to throw away any preconceived ideas and notions before taking the exam. Another point to note is there's an auditing system in which you could be picked at random for auditing. If you are picked at random for auditing, don't panic, it's not a big deal. If all that you put in your application form is indeed the truth and you can back that up with some information, then that's no problem. Just make sure you don't throw away your documentation and you keep in the loop with people who can validate that indeed you worked on those projects. It could be a manager, could be the project sponsor, someone who can verify that you did that work on the project. If a candidate takes the PMP exam and doesn't pass at first, that person has got 3 chances to pass the exam in 1 year. After the 3rd failure, that candidate has to wait 1 year before taking the exam again. So, high-level details: 200 multiple choice questions, 25 pre-test questions, and a 4-hour exam. Now, let's talk about study tips for the exam. High-level study tips. Understand the material first at a high level before going into detail, and that's the way we've structured the PMBOK Guide Audio Digest. First of all, gives you a high-level overview of project management, and then the PMBOK Guide before going into all the details. Also, understand the objectives of the PMBOK Guide. Take practice tests. The key thing is to understand and do not cram. Cramming doesn't help in that it just makes you a robot. You need to understand what you're studying and be able to say it in your own words. Understand the formulas that you use and do not second guess yourself. Focus on weak areas. Use PMP flashcards, another tool from Praizion Media that enables you to test your knowledge in the tools and techniques, inputs and outputs. It also tests your knowledge on knowledge areas and process groups. It's a set of 4 flashcards that you can get from our website. Also, study with a colleague or study group. Understand why an answer is correct, not just cramming the answer, but understanding why it's correct. Learn from your mistakes. Put on your PMP thinking cap, in that do not always think about what you practiced in the real world. Think about what PMI's outline is for it in the PMBOK Guide. Read all options. One answer is usually the best answer on the exam, so make sure that you read all the options carefully. You need to make a habit of doing that, so you'll take that same habit into the exam hall and read all your questions as carefully as possible. One of the tricks is read the last option instead of going from A to D. You can read from question D and go up, but just make sure that you study the question carefully. read all the answers. It's all about the best answer. Usually you can have two answers that sound sensible. For example, you are the project manager on a project. The customer requests a change. What should you do? Assume the answers are A, talk to your manager, B, hold a meeting with senior management and all the team, C, make an assessment of how that will impact the schedule, D, add additional time to the schedule. So you can see it sounds kind of logical to do any of those things depending on the scenario, but the key thing that a project manager should do is always assess the impact before doing anything else. Even before getting the team in, he should make an assessment to the best of his ability. He is a problem solver. You must be in the mindset of the project manager solving problems. He is responsible for the project. No one's going to do it for him. So always choose the best answer. Also, beware of generalizations like all, every, never, always. Like you always have to use this on a project, or every project consists of. Beware of generalizations like that. Now, going into more detail about the PMP exam, what should you be aware of? What do you need to study? Majority of what you need to study is in the PMBOK guide. For that reason, we have steadily focused on all the inputs, tools and techniques and outputs of every process across all the knowledge areas throughout the PMBOK guide audio digest. We have explained each one in sufficient detail for you to understand what that tool and technique does. We have also covered material outside the scope of the PMBOK that is expected on the exam. Examples are organizational theory, where we talked about Maslow's theory, Herzberg's theory, and so on. We went into some detail there. In project integration management, we went into details about project selection methods, because before your project charter is issued, a lot of things happen and the project is selected. We talked about net present value and internal rate of return. All that is not covered in the PMBOK guide in detail, but we do go into detail in this study. Also, we discuss network diagrams, we look at examples, and we talk about practical applications of some of these tools and techniques. So, you will be tested outside the scope of the PMBOK guide on broader information. Also, professional responsibility of the project manager is something that you should be aware of. You will be tested on the professional responsibility area. In order to understand this area, you need to get a copy of the PMI Code of Ethics and Professional Conduct. Visit PMI's website and get a copy of the PMI Code of Ethics and Professional Conduct. We also have a companion CD titled Professional Responsibility. You can also use that to prepare for the exam. The project manager will be tested on powers that he's expected to have. The project manager should be decisive and proactive. You will also be tested on those mindsets. Talking about favorite tools such as the WBS, you will be tested on that. Also, the new processes such as identify stakeholders and collect requirements. You should study those processes and be aware of what exactly they mean for you as the project manager. Also, the importance of communication on a project. When we get to that chapter, you will understand what to study. The project manager should be aware of stakeholder involvement, the role of the stakeholders, human resource management, how to handle the project team, how to handle people in the project that report to the project manager, motivational theories, conflict resolution, and steps to take in closing a project. And the list goes on and on. There's so much that you should be aware of. So, through the course of this study, if you get to a part that you do not understand, make sure that you rewind and listen to that part over and over again. Also, if you are using questions and dialogue, and you find questions that you need to ponder upon, make sure that you use the pause button to think about the answer before moving on to the next. With the PMBOK Guide Audio Digest comes the workbook, the PMBOK Guide Audio Digest Workbook. Throughout this course, reference is made to figures in the workbook or exercises or information in the workbook. Make sure that you look at the workbook to glean all the information that you need to in each module. Once again, welcome to the PMBOK Guide Audio Digest. Happy listening.
Praizion Media's project management training is delivered by experienced PMP certified project managers who provide expert perspectives on best practices and methods of preparation for the PMP and CAPM exams. Our project management courses prepare candidates for the PMP and CAPM exams and serve as a refresher for project managers who seek to maintain their PMP and CAPM credentials. We also train project management basics, leadership skills, soft skills, earned value management, risk management, schedule management, and cost management. We are also experts in PMO setup, development, and audits. Praizion Media is a registered education provider with the Project Management Institute, PMI. Our project management courses are credit eligible for professional development units, PDUs. Participants studying for the PMP or CAPM exam can claim the contact hours earned to satisfy PMI's eligibility requirements for the exam. Project managers seeking to maintain their PMP certification can claim the PDUs earned to satisfy PMI's continuing certification requirements. Our project management training covers what the PMP and CAPM credentials are, qualification and eligibility requirements for the PMP and CAPM exams, professional responsibilities of the PMP or CAPM certified project manager, project management methodology advocated by the Project Management Institute, PMI, real-world examples applied to project management concepts. With a John Maxwell certified trainer on our team, we also offer one of the highest standards of leadership training in content and delivery to our clients. Your team will learn how to connect with people, how to lead from anywhere in the organization, and laws of leadership to propel them to the next level in life and business. Whatever your project management or business needs may be, let us help you fulfill your growth vision for your team. Praizion Media, Real-World Project Management Training Solutions. Please visit www.praizion.com for more information.